Welcome to Walk in the Park. My name is Tony Ingram, and this is episode 92, recorded on December 3rd, 2014. We're going to continue our story about Stewart Park Revitalization, and we're going to get right into it here. This is the third part, so this is the third week we've been doing this. This is all about a meeting that was held, a public meeting on November 18th at Cinemapolis, where the Friends of Stewart Park shared their history of the park, what's been going on lately, and what are plans. Lots of big plans and lots of big developments of the park. So this is your chance, if you didn't attend that, to learn about some of the amazing things that are going on. So we're going to go right to get some context here again. I do this each time. Looking at the Cayuga Lake Basin, there is Cayuga Lake at the bottom, is of course Ithaca, and then the lower right is where Stewart Park is, the lower right end of the lake, or the southern end of the lake there by Ithaca. Stewart Park is right in there, and that dark green area is the sub-watershed of Fall Creek. So Stewart Park is contained in that. If you look in this picture, it's to the lower right of the lake there, just right of center. Zooming in a little bit, Stewart Park is right along the shore there. That's Fall Creek angling up to the left. And then another view of it. These pictures are by my friend Bill Hecht. He does lots of aerial photography there. There's Stewart Park along the shore and Fall Creek and Renwick Wild Woods, which are below that. So, okay, we're going to get right into it because this is going to take up all of our show here. So I'm going to switch to our video of that meeting. This is going to be a continuation of our last show where we're talking about the park Performance Pavilion in the middle of the park, and we'll go right to that.
For Friends of Stewart Park, it's really important to have this kind of a central piece that we think is a destination and kind of a focal point. I mean, obviously there's a lot of interesting elements to the park, but this is very unique. So this is how we're thinking this area might look, and if we really want to improve both buildings, it seems fitting that we also improve the plaza between them. Now I want to show you some images that were developed by Stream Collaborative, Noah Demarest, of a band shell that would accommodate the Ithaca Concert Band or the CCO, a big orchestra, or the Ithaca Festival. And we're just putting this out there as sort of an idea.
Kind of like music or something?
I'm sorry? So this is possibly, you could just do an arcade that would, a pergola that would create an overlook that could be used for performances. And during a performance, you might bring in acoustic baffles to push the sound out. Musicians do like to be covered, so you could cover it for both protection from the weather, but also projecting sound. So some other views of that idea. From the water. So I think it's the idea of bringing performance back to this area is important, I think, and the way that I see this playing out would be that at first, if we get so far as to build this plaza here, then we'd be able to bring in a stage, either a small stage or a large stage, and experiment with performance in this area.
Take a big stage, the way you're talking, all that money. You do it for less money.
Yeah, this would be cheaper. So bring in a temporary stage here. If this area proves to be a great place for performance, then we will explore the possibility of doing something out here and sort of taking it to another level. We also think this could be a great place for the Stewart Park Day Camp to hang out along the water edge, do little performances, a shaded place to overlook on the water. So there's a lot of potential benefits. The concerns, as I see them, are blocking the view shed, an open view of the lake.
Okay, so that was Rick Manning, the executive director of the Friends of Stewart Park. He's talking about the Performance Pavilion Plaza. and potential band shell. We're going to go right on to the next video. This is going to be about the inclusive playground and spray play area. This is a pretty interesting topic.
One of our most important projects that we're most excited about is the inclusive playground and spray play area. And I'd like to introduce Donna Bone, who's going to talk a little bit about this and also introduce the design team that we've been working on with this project. Donna?
Oh, thank you all for coming tonight, especially since it's so cold and hard to walk around in this weather. I'd like to tell you a little bit about a special area that we're creating at Stewart Park, and we're going to the name, and I think it's going to be a great place, and it has this very special meaning for me. Our son Patrick was born with cerebral palsy. He uses a walker and a wheelchair to get around. He's 31 years old now. He has a master's degree, drives his own car, and he's engaged to get married. Life is looking very good for him. But when he was a little boy, it was very different. He wanted to play on playgrounds all the time. He would see kids, see his brother. He wanted to be there. He faced a challenge that children today just don't experience very often. It was hard for me as a parent to watch this happen. Very, very rarely could he go to a playground and play with his brother and his friends. Sometimes the structure would have a ramp. He could get up on the ramp. He could get really, really close to the action, but he could never be a part of it. I used to drive and just avoid playgrounds because he'd always ask, maybe this one works. Can we try this one? Let's do this one and try. And we would often. We'd get out of the car, we'd go over. It never worked. He was always sad. He was always crying. Eventually, he just stopped asking to go. In this area, there was no playground at all that was accessible. You'll see some of the pictures from Stewart Park, I think, coming up. Pushing a wheelchair in grass never worked. For him, it wasn't a part of his childhood. He has no happy memories of it. Things are different today with the ADA. A lot of the playgrounds do have accessible areas, but it's very minimal. This playground will be accessible and inclusive for all children. All these children that have been denied the privilege of playing on a playground like this because they can't access it will be able to go into the water, they will be able to have some elevation, they will be able to play with their friends, and for someone like Patrick, it would have made all the difference when he was growing up. For me, this project means the result of many years of trying to get something like this done. I tried a few years ago to do a playground like this, and when it was unable to find support, Friends of Stewart Park is providing that support and is providing the impetus and the really great team of professionals who's going to make this happen. This playground will be a showcase. It will be a showcase for Ithaca. It will be a showcase for the surrounding community. It will be a showcase for the region. It will be a place where children can play side by side, regardless of their disabilities. A lot of the children that play here will leave with lasting memories of Stewart Park, and I think will look back in a way that makes them lovers of Stewart Park and lovers of all that our community is able to put together for all children. I'd like to invite Steve Lawson to speak now. He's going to tell you a little bit more in detail about what the park is on.
My name is Steve Lawson. I'm a landscape architect with a company called Architects. Longtime resident of the area. My office is in Ludlowville, out in Lansing. And I was nominated, come on up guys, nominated by the rest of the team to be the one holding the clicker here today. So I think that all of us are graduates of Bob Leather's Architect. That's what brought us all to this area, and we've all gone on and created our own firms, and then Rick got us together to tackle this project with each of us bringing our specialty to bear on the project. The one member who's not here today is Rusty Keeler. he's definitely a specialist, a nationally known specialist in natural play, and he'll be the one that creates the natural spaces that sort of tie all of the different areas that we're working on together. Michael Cohen is with Must Have Play, and he is really a national specialist in doing senior play, doing playgrounds for adults and for especially older adults, and he'll be bringing that expertise to the playground. Dave and Lee from Play by Design, they do stick-built community projects, built 2x4 by 2x4, and they're going to be focusing on the 2 to 5 area for this. And my specialty is working with manufactured equipment and inclusion for school-age children, and that'll be sort of my part of it as well. So we really do have a lot of expertise in Ithaca, and Rick's corralled us all to jump in and try to make this project a reality. When the design team was brought together, one of the first things we did was just gather a lot of information. This is sort of my paraphrasing of the directive from the Friends of Stewart Park, but what I heard was charming and beautiful. They wanted it very open. They wanted this playground to be very supportive, not only of all abilities, but of all ages. So supportive to the entire community, open to the entire community. And they also very much wanted it to be respectful of the historic nature of the park and the history. So we then went actually into the Ithaca City Schools. I think we met with students at 4 or 5 elementary schools. And I just put up some of the words that we heard as we interviewed all the students there, but we got a lot of input from students and teachers. We were able to meet one of the gentlemen that runs the summer program. He was at one of the schools, and he gave us a lot of information about how the park is used and what needs to be done differently. We also had a public meeting where we had a lot of notes broke into little working groups. On the playground side, sort of the things I pulled out of my notes for shade was a big deal. Age separation. When we met with kids, they called it big kid zone and little kid zone. They wanted that. And that was definitely brought up by the parents at that meeting. Making it not only accessible but inclusive came up time and time again. Multi-generational, again, a thing that Michael's going to be focusing on. Creative space, performing space. One of the big things we talked about is should it be spread out or should it be clumped together? Stewart Park right now is very spread out. Should we bring it in more? That was a big point of discussion. When it came to the spray play area, the first thing someone wanted was warm water coming out of it. So that one, we're not sure we can do that, but it definitely came up bigger. It's too slippery, it's too plain, it's too small. One of the things the kids mentioned is they wanted water to come down on top of their heads. It all comes up from their feet, which they like, but they know that water can come from the other direction too, so they mentioned that. And actually, some of the children that were at the public meeting mentioned that this idea of age separation, again, we could do that at the spray play area as well as the playground. So taking all of that and trying to bring it all together into an initial idea, well, the first thing, then we had to figure out the site. So basically, if you were to stand where the spray park is today, that's where the new spray play area will be. It'll be about 3 times the size, but basically in that same area. And then the playground really continues from there up towards the big structure. All of the playground equipment that goes towards the lake, there's a power line that runs through there, and one of the directives from the Friends group is to try to make sure we don't put the new playground underneath the power line. So we'll actually be turning over a lot of space between the playground and the buildings to open play again. Instead of having lots of pathways and lots of areas of wood chips or play equipment, we'll have a lot more open playing space, which another was a request of the kids there as well. So it basically sits from the spray park up to the bigger play structure, takes over that zone. And this is our friend John Dean put together this sketch of the area. And at the bottom of the picture, you'll see the spray play area. And really, one of the things Rick really wanted to do was not have it not just be a big rectangle of concrete with spray coming up or down, but it's really meant to form kind of a river that flows down, and that's the big kid zone as it comes through landscaping and rocks. It comes down to the bottom where there will be a larger area where it opens up, and that becomes sort of the little kid zone. There may be water cannons or waterfalls or different things so kids can interact between the different zones. So a very natural, very different looking spray play area. You'll see that there's this berm, that ramp that takes you up so that children can enter the school age play zone from 6 or 7 feet in the air. Something that they so seldom get to experience, that elevation on a playground. So the big kid zone having this ramped, elevated structure, heading back to things that swing and things that spin and things that bounce and all of those items for the older kids. And then here on the right, the area that Dave and Lee will be working on, the zone for the preschool kids, 2 to 5-year-olds. That will be a stick built with community volunteers. It'll have a lot of the historic elements brought into it. And then in the background, you can see the area that Michael will be working on for seniors and for adult play.
Thanks, Michael.
So that's sort of the overall idea of where we're headed. And then just to give you some images that can kind of help you get a sense of what's in our head as we're thinking about what this plan could look like. Some images of the spray play area. Very natural landscaping, rocks, slopes, so there's flow to the water. In terms of the little kids area, a very whimsical, fun, architectural sort of feel to it. Again, sort of pulling on the historical elements of the park. For the school age area, it's really about inclusion, making sure that there's places for everyone to swing, to spin, to rock, to gain elevation, to move through and move around the space. And then in Michael's area, making sure that all of those activities that we're doing for 2 to 5 and for 5 to 12 are there for older adults as well. And then Rusty Keeler, again, who's not here tonight, doing the natural play elements, and it'll be his job to sort of soften the whole thing and tie everything together, whether it's with the berms and landscaping, or we have this idea of this river of sand that helps tie everything together to become sand play for the children as well. So that'll be sort of Rusty's main part of the project. But right now, it's really just a plan. We have the Friends of Stewart Park providing the overall support for the project. We have a design team in place. But now what we need to do is really develop some true champions for the playground project, people that are willing to jump in with the design team, jump in with the Friends organization, and really hone in on this design and form up the committee that's needed to get the city of Ithaca, the community of Ithaca working together to get this built. So we are planning on December 6th from 10 till noon at a location to be determined. But we will have a gathering on that date of anyone that's interested in sort of stepping up and taking a leadership role on this project and really helping to fine-tune this design, work with the Friends group, work with the city, and try to make sure that we have something there at Stewart Park that is just a world-class space. December 6th. We would love to see lots and lots of interested folks there.
So we've had this wonderful thing happen. We were approached by Christy Sobel and Julia John to repaint the horses, and we've raised about $8,000 and have 12. Is that right?
I just finished
Number 13. We have 13 of them repainted, and we hope to have 30 done by the spring. But it's a wonderful initiative that we're really excited about. I think it's a great way to start the playground project off. It was something that really needs to be done, and so whimsical and fun. So thank you so much, Christy, for stepping up.
Okay, so you probably noticed that date has been changed from December 6th sometime till January and February. So if you go to their website, friendsofstewartpark.org, you can be kept up to date, and you can also get on their email list and have the notice of the upcoming events and meetings and so forth shown to you. So now we're going to go to take a look at the Cascadilla Boathouse. The Cascadilla Boathouse is an historic structure which has fallen into some disrepair, and the Cascadilla Boat Club has pulled together, and the Friends of Stewart Park and the city and so forth. I'll let them tell you about that.
Chris Glaublitz. He's a Friends of Stewart Park board member, architect, and also a member of the board of the Cascadillo Rowing.
Thanks, Rick. Yeah, I'm on the board of Friends of Stewart Park. I'll share my personal story also. Anybody from Fall Creek? Raise your hand if you live in Fall Creek. Yeah. I live in Fall Creek as well, and I just want to say having the park so close by just makes the quality of life so great in the area. Actually, I got married in the park by one of the mayors, not Mayor Stewart, not that, Mayor Cohen. So it's a great park, and it's really meaningful to me. I've also had the honor of driving my older son to this building at 5:30 in the morning for a couple of years, driving 10 miles an hour in the park. Speed limit is 10. Gene here. So it's sometimes a challenge when you're late, especially when you're a senior with your driver's license. At any rate, building was built in 1896 for the Cascadillo School, as Rick said before. It was used until the mid-20s as a rowing building for their program. At which point, rowing kind of was on the decline past this era of huge spectator sport. It was then sold to the city. The city owns the building. It was used by the city until Jan Rodewitz back here and some of his friends decided to get a club together in 1977. In 1978, they started rowing out of the building. The Cascadillo Boat Club offers the sport of rowing to the Ithaca community. So, if you're interested in rowing, we have summer learn to row programs. This past fall, they had 110 students in the youth program, most of them from Ithaca High School, but from other area schools as well. We like to say we're kind of the second biggest team, other than track and field at Ithaca High. So, of the number of kids that row there. Also 60 plus masters rowers, some of whom store their boats here, they rent space. We have, over the years, the building has had a city shop in it for a while. Since 1982 or so, Cascadillo Boat Club has been using both bays for the original use of the building, which is great when we can find a historic building that we can use for what it was originally designed for, like some of the other buildings in the park. That's a theme that we're trying to bring back a lot of the use to what it was back in the day. So again, we have Dan Mitchell, who's all over the park, painting everything in the park, with some Cornell students, I believe, doing some historic painting of the railings. Again, you see here on some of the buildings. So over the years, there have been various efforts by the city raising the building up so it stays dry, doing some painting. The past budget, not this one that was just recently forged, but previous budget has some money to redo the roof, which is great. We're in need of some update there. So the boat club provides these docks, to the public, and so often if you go down there, maybe some of you fish off of it or sunbathe on it and stuff, and we're happy to do that, provide that access, because it's really, there's not a lot of places where you can launch that kind of craft, this low dock. We, the ice flow and ice jams that happened last year, we have a summer trail project that heads up shoveling some muck off there. So we get a bunch of strong rowers out there and shovel muck. We're really proud to have had in the last Summer Olympics, 2012, 3 alumni of Cascadillo Boat Club rowing in the Olympics, 2 of which medaled. The tall ones are the rowers. Bruce Fabian's in the middle, long time board president. Short guy. So we're really proud of our Olympic medals, and many of our athletes go on to row competitively at collegiate programs all over the country. So here's a look at the inside. We've got like 60-foot long boat shells in there, and really are able to use the space. We're crammed in there. We've been growing and been very successful, and happy to be in partnership with the city and have the opportunity to operate out of their building. A couple of the projects that are in the works are, like I mentioned, the roofing, which is going to be great. And once we get a solid roof on there, something that we're really excited about, this is the second floor space, which has been closed for a number of years due to codes, because there's not enough ways to get out of it. In 2012, Friends of Stewart Park, Cascadel Boat Club, and the city went together and got a grant. We were successful in obtaining that to provide another entrance, an exit from the space to allow limited use, limited supervised use up to 50 people for that space. And here's an image of that stairway, which would be on the north side, so on the side that you don't often see if you're driving through the park, next to the bird sanctuary, otherwise. Down the road, some of the ideas that we have in the sort of the front of the building, on the east side of the building, there was a caretaker's apartment up there at one point. There are offices, potential for office space that could be used by Cascadel Boat Club or other community groups. Also, if you look at some of the older photographs, you see that the porch that is still there in some places, wrapped entirely around the building. There's a really large turret on the northwest corner as well that came down in a hurricane. So there are a lot of opportunities to bring this building back to what it once was. Thanks.
Okay, Cascadel Boathouse. So that was getting pretty close to the end of the agenda of the evening on that November 18th meeting that I videoed. There was one other topic on it. It was called, you might have seen the screen that came up, Bird-Friendly Park Initiative, but we're running out of time to do all of that, so I will do some of it. But if you want to see all of our episodes, all 3 parts of this show so far, you can go to our vid blog, my vid blog, walkinpark.com, walkinpark.com, and they'll all be there. This one will be up by the end of the week. And you can look at the other ones. You can watch it online, or you can watch it on TV at our schedule, which is also online. So I'm just going to give you about a minute of the final topic, and then I'll show that in its entirety, which is about 6 minutes in a future episode.
As you know, birders love Stewart Park, and we'd like to be to help them out to make it a better place to learn about birds, to observe them, and to help enhance the park's role as a bird habitat. There are a lot of Canada geese in the park. A few is fine. Usually it looks more like that. Sometimes like that on our special trail. So the short story, and I'm not an expert in birding by any means, but the birds that live in Stewart Park are not migrating geese. They're residents. They live here. Back in the 20s and 30s, there was a movement to have decoy birds that never migrated. They were raised and used as decoys for hunting. Now you can't hunt, and they've gotten way out of control. And there's
Okay, well, that's all we have time for today. I will include the rest of that segment on the Bird-Friendly Park Initiative of the Friends of Stewart Park at Stewart Park in a future episode. So I want to thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.